invite viewers to post their location and local time. He always liked to know where people were tuning in from, whether it was morning coffee on the East Coast, midnight snacks on the West Coast, or someone in another country stealing a few minutes at work. And then he leaned right into the story because it was too wild not to share, the kind of tale where police sirens and a 43-foot yacht somehow end up in the same sentence, which frankly sounds like the setup to a bad joke, but was in fact a Tuesday on his ranch. He's Derek Foster, 56, a retired firefighter who thought country life would mean fishing poles, tractors, and saxophone solos, not lawsuits, helicopters of gossip, and HOA presidents trying to control his horizon line. Yet here he is, standing at the edge of his own lake, while 3 squad cars roar up the dirt drive, sirens tearing the calm air to shreds, gravel spitting under tires, dogs barking like it's doomsday rehearsal, and the officers stepping out with hands on their belts like he's about to stage a pirate mutiny in Central Texas. Across the field comes Sandra Wilds, tight slacks, broad hat, and a scowl that historians still argue whether it could curdle milk or scare hawks from the sky. And she points at his brand-new Sunseeker yacht rocking peacefully at its private dock, shrieking about maritime safety violations, zoning ordinances, and visual pollution, which is a phrase that sounds more like a failed art exhibit than a crime, but she wields it like gospel. And Derek, biting back laughter, says the obvious, this isn't a pond, it's a private lake. And no, he didn't park it, he sailed it. Even if the sailing part involved a hydraulic trailer and more winching than romance novels usually allow. The officers glance at each other, scribbling notes like they're caught between enforcing the law and starring in a reality show no one asked for. And Sandra hisses that if he doesn't move this floating monstrosity, within 24 hours the HOA will seize jurisdiction of the lake itself, as if her clipboard could magically stretch property lines across a ranch he spent years carving into his own. And that's the moment he smiles. Because 6 minutes earlier, with the ink still drying on county records, Derek had purchased the very Sunridge Marina, the HOA's jewel, the stage for their parties, their little yacht club pride, and now it belonged to him. He hasn't told them yet, hasn't dropped the hammer, but you can see the storm building behind his calm eyes, the kind of quiet before thunder, and he remembers the years of her pettiness, calling code enforcement over a tree, reporting the sound of horses, even filing a complaint about his saxophone concerts, which by the way were attended mostly by cows and 2 golden retrievers, Buddy and Samson, both generous critics who never once demanded refunds. Yet here she is again, trying to dictate what he can see from his own porch. The irony is, the yacht isn't some whimsy midlife crisis. It's a boyhood dream. Born in dentist office waiting rooms flipping through glossy magazines of sleek boats against turquoise seas. A dream buried under mortgages, long shifts fighting fires, and a divorce that left him hollow. Until one day he finally had the means, sold off an old property, saved up, and thought, why not? Why not sip coffee in boots and boxers from a deck that belonged entirely to him? Wake up to water lapping against fiberglass, claim a piece of peace no one could steal, except of course Sandra tried. So when the sirens wail and officers ask for explanations, he doesn't flinch, because he knows the truth, that property lines matter, that rights matter, and that sometimes the best revenge isn't yelling back. It's buying the ground beneath your enemy's feet, and the paper in his back pocket proves it, though he keeps it there, waiting, savoring the moment, because sometimes silence cuts deeper than any saxophone solo. And soon Sandra will learn her HOA empire is built on sand. The morning after the yacht showdown, Derek thinks maybe, just maybe, the storm has passed. But then the knock on his ranch door rattles the glass like bad news trying to get in. 3 heavy thuds followed by 2 county workers in blue jumpsuits stringing orange tape along his fence like they're decorating for Halloween early. Except the only thing spooky here is the envelope they hand him. A list of 9 supposed violations filed by the Sunridge HOA. He tears it open, coffee still steaming in his hand. And the list is pure comedy. Unauthorized flagpole height, excessive reflective surfaces on watercraft, visible blackening on his barbecue smoker. The kind of nonsense that makes you wonder if people stay up late just inventing ways to be miserable. And he can't help but laugh. Though deep down it's not funny because the last page threatens a temporary freeze on land use. A bureaucratic chokehold designed to make his life a maze of red tape. And standing smug in the driveway watching this circus is none other than Sandra, sunglasses flashing like she's auditioning for a perfume ad, Craig the HOA vice president slouching behind her with his sweater vest and clipboard smirk. Derek raises his voice just enough. "I'm not in your HOA." But Sandra tilts her head like a teacher correcting a naughty student, saying the county allows them limited input on bordering aesthetics, which is lawyer speak for harassment, and Craig rolls his window down to add, "Should have moved the yacht, old man," which makes Buddy growl low in his chest. And Derek has to hold himself back from laughing because it sounds more like a cartoon villain line than a real threat. But here's the thing. Derek has allies too, not just dogs and dignity. And he dials a number he kept tucked away for years, Angela Brown, a real estate attorney who owes him a debt from the time he saved her father's barn from a wildfire back in '09. And when she shows up later that day, heels clicking, binder snapping open, she reads the HOA's so-called violations and shakes her head, calling it what it is. Targeted legal aggression, harassment dressed up as civic duty. Together, they plan a counterstrike, nuisance injunctions, harassment suits, even witness testimony from past residents who fled Sunridge Hollow because of the board's pettiness. And Derek realizes this fight isn't about a yacht. It's about control, the HOA's addiction to micromanaging everything it can see, as if freedom itself were offensive. Meanwhile, the HOA escalates further, trespassing at the marina he now owns, bolt cutters snapping his locks, hauling in tents and popcorn machines like a rogue carnival, thinking he won't notice, but Derek notices. Oh, he notices. Drone buzzing high over treetops recording every sneaky move. Angela beside him muttering this is criminal trespass with intent, but Derek holds her back with a sly grin. Let them finish. Because sometimes the best trap is the one they build themselves. Historians still argue whether petty rivalries create more chaos than real wars. But watching Craig sweat under a summer sun barking orders at teenagers while trespassing on a marina he no longer owns, Derek figures he's witnessing proof firsthand. And when the sheriff's deputy finally arrives, cease and desist papers in hand, the HOA board looks like actors caught rehearsing for a play they didn't audition for. The moment perfectly set, perfectly recorded, perfectly legal. That's when Derek knows he's no longer just defending his ranch. He's staging a lesson, a living footnote in the strange history of HOAs versus human dignity. And the board's own arrogance is writing every word. The morning of the Sunridge Hollow Community Talent Showcase dawns bright, the lake glittering like it's in on the joke, and Derek drives up slow in his pickup, coffee in hand, just to watch the spectacle, because the HOA has gone all out. Rows of chairs, a stage draped in shiny blue fabric, food trucks humming, even one of those inflatable tube guys flailing like a caffeinated octopus. And there in the middle of it all is Sandra in a cherry red pantsuit, headset barking orders like she's running Broadway. Craig puffed up with his clipboard, teenagers stringing lights under her watchful eye. He doesn't say a word at first, just whistles sharp enough to cut the chatter, and every head turns. Even the inflatable freezes mid-flail. And that's when Deputy Howard rolls up behind him, Angela stepping out with her binder, like Justice wearing cowboy boots, and Sandra, smiling too wide, asks if he's here to enjoy the show. Oh, it'll be a show, Derek thinks, just not the one she planned. Craig waves the old lease in the air, shouting about automatic renewals. Sandra chimes in about sold tickets and newspaper coverage, but Angela delivers the blow. Derek filed a retroactive reassignment the night before, stamped and certified. Their precious lease expired at midnight, which means the entire setup is now a legal trespass, and Deputy Howard holds up the document like a referee ending the match. The silence that follows is delicious, broken only by a vendor muttering, "Well, this is awkward," as she packs up lemonade. And soon chaos erupts, tents collapsing, balloons deflating, chairs scraping as guests retreat, Craig kicking furniture in frustration, Sandra's headset dangling like a broken crown, and the board scrambling to salvage dignity that slipped through their fingers like sand. But Derek isn't done, because out comes the USB loaded with drone footage, locks cut, trespass recorded, equipment hauled in, and Angela hands a packet of evidence to the deputy, filing formal charges on the spot, Sandra backing up, sputtering, accusing him of manipulation, while Derek just smiles, calm as lake water at dawn, reminding her this wasn't about ruining names, It was about protecting peace. As the last of the crowd slinks away, Angela asks if he's good, and Derek exhales long and low, saying he's tired of bullies hiding behind bylaws, tired of pretending petty tyrants deserve courtesy, and when she asks what now, he grins, says he's taking the yacht out. Maybe let the dogs ride up front, maybe play some jazz for the fish, and with that he unties the ropes, Buddy and Samson leaping aboard, water rippling as the yacht drifts free across his lake, his land, his home. And just when it feels over, Sandra shouts one last desperate line across the shore. "You haven't seen the last of us." But Derek only waves, voice steady. "I hope not. I've still got a few surprises left." And with that, the engine hums, the horizon opens, and the ranch falls back into peace, at least for now. The yacht drifts slowly across the lake, not fast, not loud, just steady. The kind of motion that eases tension from shoulders and quiets the noise of a day that began with confrontation and ended with laughter. And Derek stands at the rail, one hand resting on the polished wood, the other scratching behind Buddy's ears while Samson sprawls at his boots, their tails wagging in the rhythm of the water. The sun tilts lower, painting the sky with soft orange and lavender streaks, and each ripple of the lake carries away another shard of the chaos left on shore. It's strange, he thinks, how quickly battles fade once you stop fueling them. How an HOA's fury can shrink into nothing more than the memory of collapsing tents and sputtering threats. And how a man with patience and paperwork can remind the world that not all fights require shouting. Some are won with silence, with preparation, with the steady hand that holds a saxophone one night and a deed the next. The air is cooler now, almost sweet, cicadas trading songs with the crickets, a soft harmony carrying across the pasture. And Derek closes his eyes just long enough to remember the boy in the dentist's office flipping boat magazines, the firefighter running into smoke without hesitation, the man who carved a lake from dirt and rainwater just to sit in moments like this, where peace is more than a word. It's a choice. And as the yacht glides to the center of the water, anchored by nothing but his will to stand firm, he breathes deep, lets the sound of the lake settle into his bones, and whispers to no one in particular, maybe even to you, that sometimes the good guys still win, one quiet evening at a time.